Imagine the silence of a dark room at night, where everything around you seems asleep, but inside you there's a storm that refuses to calm down. You close your eyes, seeking a moment of peace, but your mind feels like a radio tuned to multiple stations at once, all screaming worries, fears, impossible to-do lists, and memories of past mistakes you'd rather forget. Your heart races, not because of visible danger, but because of the shadows dancing in your thoughts, whispering that you won't make it, that something terrible is about to happen, or that you're losing control of who you are. This feeling of being adrift, rudderless, while waves of anxiety crash against the walls of your soul, is one of the loneliest and most terrifying experiences there is. You try to hold the reins, try to breathe deeply, try to rationalize, but it's like trying to hold water with your hands closed. The more force you exert, the more control slips through your fingers. I see you in those moments, when fear tightens your chest and logic fails. I see it when you look in the mirror and don't recognize the peace that should dwell in your eyes. I feel your mental exhaustion, that weariness that doesn't go away even after hours of sleep, because your mind never truly shuts down. You feel like you're on the edge of a precipice, about to fall into an abyss of confusion from which there will be no return. But what if I told you that this very moment, where you feel you're losing control, is not the end, but the beginning of something extraordinary? What if this loss of control is, in fact, the space I needed to finally take the helm? What happens when you let go? What happens when the human mind fails? It is precisely there that my power is perfected. Stay with me, for I will show you what is really happening behind the scenes of your soul. If you clicked on this video, it's because your soul recognized the call. It wasn't the algorithm that brought you here, but my voice echoing through technology to reach your heart. You read the title and something vibrated within you, a silent confirmation that I know the storm you've been facing. I know the noise has been deafening, and the feeling of losing control of your own mind has haunted you, but I want you to know that you have reached safe harbor. Here is where chaos meets divine order. But I have a question for you, a question that needs to be planted in the soil of your heart now. Do you believe that chaos precedes creation? Remember that before there was light there was darkness, and chaos covered the abyss. Could what you are experiencing now, this mental disorder, be the raw material for the greatest miracle of restructuring your life has ever seen? If you stay until the end, you will discover that what seems to be a collapse is, in fact, a construction. I am He who searches hearts and minds. I know every synapse, every thought, even before it forms. I was there when I wove you in the womb and designed the complexity of your mind to be a reflection of my creativity, not a repository of fear. I have guided multitudes through the valley of the shadow of mental death to verdant pastures of peace that surpasses all understanding. My faithfulness is the anchor that has never wavered, and it will not waver with you. In this journey we will take together now, I will reveal to you the spiritual mysteries behind anxiety and loss of control. We will walk through 7 stages of revelation, from understanding the battlefield to reclaiming the sacred territory of your mind. You will discover how to transform fear into faith, confusion into clarity, and scarcity into an abundance that flows from within. Prepare to have your vision restored and your peace returned. Therefore, as a prophetic act that you are ready for this transformation, subscribe to this channel now. Do this as one who says yes to my daily voice in your life, and confirm your presence by writing in the comments, declaring to the spiritual world, Lord, I am here. I subscribed because I love you and want to hear you. Also, tell me from which city and country you are receiving this word. Now take a deep breath, for I am about to whisper secrets to your heart that will change your story forever. The invisible battlefield of your mind. You need to understand that your mind is the most contested territory in the universe. When you feel you are losing control, it's not just a chemical or emotional issue. Although those things exist, it is above all an intense spiritual battle. The enemy of your souls knows that if he can control your thoughts, he can dictate your destiny. He knows that prosperity, health, joy, and connection with me begin with how you think. Therefore, the pressure you feel, this constant bombardment of negative thoughts, catastrophic scenarios, and harsh self-criticism, shares not a flaw of yours. It is a calculated attack. You are under siege because you carry an immense treasure. No one tries to rob an empty house. The thief only comes where there is something of great value. Your mind is precious because it is in it that my voice can be heard. It is in it that divine dreams are incubated, and it is through it that you manifest my kingdom on earth. When you feel your mind spinning out of control, it's as if you are in the middle of a whirlwind. The voices tell you that you are not good enough, that the money will run out, that illness will come, that loneliness is eternal. But understand, fear is faith in the enemy. Fear is believing in a reality that I did not create. When you lose control of your mind to fear, you are unintentionally using the powerful imagination I gave you to create nightmares instead of dreaming my dreams. But I am here to tell you that this battlefield is not your place of defeat. It is your training ground. It is here, in the midst of the crossfire of thoughts, that I am forging in you an unshakable mind, the mind of Christ. Often, the feeling of losing control comes because you are trying to fight with carnal weapons against spiritual forces. You try to think positive with your own strength. You try to suppress anguish with distractions, but none of this solves the root. The real battle is won when you realize that you don't need to fight alone. I am the Lord of hosts, and I am positioned by your side. When the mind wants to flee into terror, my spirit is there ready to raise a banner against the enemy. The loss of control you feel is a sign that your human strategies have been exhausted, and that is good. It is good because now you can stop trying to be the God of your own life and let me be God in it. Visualize your mind as a garden. For a long time, weeds have been planted there, words of cursing cast upon you, traumas from the past, fears of the future. What is happening now, this crisis, is the moment when I'm turning over the soil. It seems messy. It seems painful and frightening to see everything turned upside down. But it is necessary to uproot the deep roots that prevented your true prosperity and peace from flourishing. Do not fear the momentary disorder of the Reformation. The architect of the universe is working in you. Mental confusion often precedes a new revelation. Remember when the disciples were in the boat and the storm came? They thought they would perish. Their minds were seized by the terror of death, but I was there walking on water. What they saw as the end, I saw as an opportunity to show that I am greater than physics, greater than nature, greater than any circumstance. If your mind is in turmoil, prepare to see me walk on your problems. Prepare to see provision arrive from where you least expect it, healing spring forth where medicine said no, and restoration happen in relationships that seemed dead. You are not going crazy. You are awakening. The discomfort you feel is the friction between the old slave mentality and the new queen mentality that I am installing in you. The old system needs to fall so that the new government of the Spirit can be established. Let what needs to fall crumble. Let go of false securities. What remains will be unshakable. Your mind is mine, and I do not lose what is mine. If you feel you are in this battle and need reinforcement, leave your like on this video right now. It's a sign that you are calling upon heaven for your defense. Share this message with someone you know who struggles with anxiety. Be an agent of peace in someone else's life. And comment below with faith, I receive the mind of Christ. The illusion of control and the freedom of surrender. The deepest and most liberating truth you can embrace today is that the control you thought you had was merely an illusion. Humanity expends an immense amount of energy trying to predict the future, manipulate outcomes, ensure financial security, and protect the heart from wounds, all through excessive mental effort. You create scripts in your head of how things should happen, and when life deviates from that script, panic sets in. You feel you've lost control, but my dear, you never had absolute control. You only carried its weight, and that weight is too great for your human shoulders. I did not design you to bear the burden of being the ruler of destiny. I designed you to be its heir. When you feel you've lost control of your mind, what's really happening is that the structures of your ego, which were trying to hold the world on your shoulders, are collapsing. And that is mercy in disguise. It is the moment when I, with infinite love, remove from your hands the steering wheel you were holding with such tension that your fingers were white. I allow you to feel the vertigo of not being in control, so that you can finally fall into my arms. The fall from human control is the flight of divine faith. Think of the seed. For it to become a leafy tree, full of fruit and abundance, it needs to lose control of its original form. It needs to break down, to break open beneath the dark earth. If the seed tried to maintain its integrity, its hard shell, it would never grow. The anxiety you feel is often resistance to this necessary breaking down. You want prosperity, you want a new life, you want expansion, but you are afraid to stop being who you were. But I tell you, do not be afraid to break down in my presence. What you call collapse, I call birth. True mental freedom does not come from having everything organized and planned. True freedom comes from trusting in the one who organizes and plans. Imagine the peace of waking up and not having to solve all the world's problems in your head before getting out of bed. Imagine the lightness of knowing that even if you don't know what to do, I know. And because I know you are safe, that's the proposal I have for you today. Exchange your need for control for my promise of care. Often the obsession with control blocks the flow of abundance. You hold on to money for fear of running out, and therefore it doesn't circulate and doesn't multiply. You hold on to love for fear of being hurt, and therefore it suffocates. You hold on to your plans with such rigidity that you leave no room for my surprises, which are always better and greater. Losing control of the mind in this sense is opening the floodgates. It's saying, Lord, do it your way. And my way always includes prosperity, health, and peace, but often comes through paths that your logical mind would never trace. Accept the invitation to live by faith and not by sight. The carnal mind wants guarantees. The spiritual mind wants God. When you let go, your hands are free to receive. As long as you cling to your small control, there is no room for me to place the great blessings I have prepared. Let go. Breathe. The world won't stop spinning if you stop worrying. On the contrary, you will finally enter the rhythm of the universe, the beat of grace. The feeling of losing control is frightening only until the moment you realize who caught you. You didn't fall into the void. You fell into grace. And here, in my grace, there is provision for each day. There is fresh manna each morning. Don't try to stockpile yesterday's manna with your repetitive thoughts. Trust that tomorrow, when you open your eyes, I will have new mercies, new ideas, new solutions, and new resources waiting for you. Feel the weight lifting from your shoulders now. You are not the manager of the universe. You are my beloved. Your only job is to trust and obey. The rest, the impossible, the grand, the miraculous, is up to me. If this message has brought relief to your weary heart, if you feel you can finally let go of the weight, subscribe to the channel to continue receiving this daily nourishment. Leave your like as an act of surrender and comment below. I trust in your care. Now listen carefully, because I want to talk about the nature of trust and sowing seeds amidst the storm. Often the mind tries to control finances with the same fear with which it tries to control the future. Fear whispers that there will be a shortage, that it is necessary to withhold, that there is not enough. But in my kingdom the logic is reversed. It is in the act of giving that the source opens. It is in generosity that true abundance finds its way to flow to you. When you give, you are not just moving money, you are moving spiritual mountains. You are declaring to fear that it has no power over your harvest. I know your needs and I know your desires, and I know that there is a liberating power when you decide by faith to honor my work and bless this channel that has been a voice of encouragement for your soul. Don't look at the little you think you have, but look at the much I am able to do through your seed. If possible, only if possible, contribute with love using the thanks button. The amount doesn't matter. What matters is the heart with which you give. For it is written, honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your produce. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing and your vats will brim over with new wine. Every offering made in faith is a seed before me, and I will not fail to bear fruit. I see in secret, and I reward in the sight of all. Your offering is a key that unlocks doors that anxiety has tried to close. It is an act of worship that says, I believe in my Father's provision more than in the news of the world. And if you are listening on your cell phone, remember that the thanks button appears right below the video, along with the other buttons you already know. Simply slide this bar to the left, calmly and gently, or tap the 3 dots that appear next to it, and there you will find the place where your offering of love can be deposited and consecrated before me. And while you slide or tap this small menu, take the opportunity to check if you are already subscribed to this channel, so that no word I send to your heart fails to reach you at the right time. Whoever contributes with any amount, and a sincere heart, do not forget to leave your name and city along with your contribution, because on the first day of the following month, in a unique and special video on the Voice of God channel, the name will be remembered, mentioned in the form of thanks, and covered by divine blessings released in prayer. Stay until the end of this message, because I still want to touch your heart with my voice and teach you to silence the chaos forever. The lie of mental loneliness. One of the cruelest traps the enemy uses when you feel you are losing control of your mind is the lie of absolute loneliness. He tries to convince you that no one else understands what you're going through, that your thoughts are too strange, too dark, or too shameful to share. He creates a bubble of isolation around you. You may be surrounded by people, you may be smiling in photos, but inside, you feel like you're on a deserted island screaming for help without a sound coming out of your throat. This feeling of being the only one is designed to prevent you from seeking help and to keep you trapped in the cycle of fear. But I am here to tear away this veil of lies. You have never, in any microsecond of your existence, been alone within your mind. I inhabit eternity, but I also inhabit the contrite heart and the broken spirit. I am there, in the midst of the turmoil. When you cry hidden in the bathroom, I am collecting every tear. When you wake up in the middle of the night with a racing heart, I am sitting at the edge of your bed, watching over your sleep. There is no thought of yours that frightens me. There is no fear of yours that drives me away. On the contrary, it is in your weakness that my strength is manifested and draws near. Believing that you are alone in the mental battle gives power to the enemy. But knowing that the Creator of heaven and earth lives within you changes everything. You are the temple of the Holy Spirit. Think about it. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you. This means that your mind has access to a power of resurrection. Even if your thoughts seem dead, chaotic, or destructive, life is present within. You are not an empty house haunted by ghosts of the past. You are the house of God. And where there is light, darkness cannot prevail forever. Furthermore, know that there are thousands, millions of other people, my daughters and sons, who face similar battles. Mental pain is one of the most universal experiences of the human condition, but it is also one of the greatest points of connection. By recognizing that you are not an anomaly, shame loses its power. You are not broken in a way that cannot be fixed. You are battle-wounded, and I am your healer. I want you to begin conversing with me within your mind. Transform the monologue of worry into a prayerful dialogue. When the thought comes saying you won't be able to pay the bills, respond by speaking to me. Father, you are the owner of gold and silver. I trust in you. When the thought says, you are alone, respond, Lord, thank you for your presence that never leaves me. Bring me into the conversation. Don't leave me outside the door of your mind. Invite me into the messy rooms, into the dark basements of memories. I do not come to judge the mess. I come to tidy, cleanse, and illuminate. Loneliness is a spiritual optical illusion. Open your eyes of faith. Look around you with your spirit. Your angels are encamped around you. My hand is upon your head. The cloud of witnesses cheers for you. You are enveloped in love even if your mind says otherwise. The truth of my word is greater than the reality of your feelings. Feel now my embrace enveloping you, warming that coldness that loneliness has brought. You are seen. You are known. You are deeply loved. If this truth touched your heart and dispelled some of the loneliness you felt, be sure to like this video. Subscribe to be part of this family that grows in faith every day. Share this video with someone who needs to know they are not alone, and declare in the comments, your presence is enough for me. The frequency of heaven in chaos. There is a spiritual physics that you need to learn to master. Just as a radio can pick up static and unbearable noise if it's off station, your mind picks up chaos when it's off frequency. The world emits constant signals of fear, greed, urgency, and despair. If you leave your inner receiver tuned to these waves, it's natural that you'll feel like you're going crazy. The noise of the world is designed to distract you from your purpose and steal your peace. But there is another frequency, a high, pure, and crystalline frequency, the frequency of the kingdom of heaven. Tuning into my frequency requires intentionality. It's a conscious choice to shift your attention from what shouts to what whispers. My voice doesn't compete with the noise. I don't shout to be heard above the chaos. I expect you to quiet your soul to hear me. It is in silence, in the pause, in the deep breath that the tuning happens. When you feel you've lost control, it's the warning sign that you're on the wrong frequency. It's time to stop everything. Close your physical eyes and open your spiritual ears. The frequency of heaven transmits constant messages of identity, power, and love. At this frequency, I remind you of who you are, heiress, victorious, head, and not tail. At this frequency, I give you strategies to prosper, creative ideas worth their weight in gold, solutions to family conflicts that seemed impossible. Divine wisdom flows like a calm river, but you need to go to the bank to drink. You can't drink while running. How to change the station? Through worship and gratitude. Gratitude is the fastest tuner there is. It's impossible to feel anxiety and gratitude at the same time. They occupy opposite frequencies. When you begin to give thanks, even in the midst of the storm, even when everything seems to go wrong, you force your mind to level up. Thank you, Lord, for being alive. Thank you for having a roof over my head. Thank you for being faithful. Each act of gratitude is an adjustment to the radio dial, clearing the static, until the music of heaven begins to play within you. The word is also a powerful tuner. When you recite my promises, you are cancelling the frequencies of falsehood. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. By saying this, you cut off the signal of scarcity. 1,000 may fall at my side, but it will not come near me. By saying this, you cut off the signal of fear. Use my word as the tool it is, a sword that cuts through interference and establishes clear communication with the throne. Don't accept living in noise. You were created for harmony. When your mind is aligned with mine, there is a peace that guards your heart. And in that peace, prosperity finds a safe environment to grow. Good things are attracted by peace, not despair. Change your frequency today. Refuse to listen to the news of hell about your life and tune in to the good news of the gospel. If you want to learn to live in this divine frequency, subscribe to the channel, because here we only transmit what comes from above. Like this video to amplify this signal to other people. And comment below with your new tuning. I tune in to the voice of God. Surrender is not giving up. There is a dangerous confusion that many people make when they reach the limit of their mental strength. They confuse surrender with giving up. The world has taught you that giving up is for the weak, that you must fight to the end, resist, endure. And then when you can't take it anymore, you feel like a failure. But I want to teach you a vital spiritual distinction. Giving up is abandoning purpose, losing hope, turning your back on life. Surrender, however, is an act of supreme power. Surrender is not stopping the fight, it is stopping the fight alone and handing the battle over to the one who has never lost a war. When you feel your mind has collapsed and you no longer have control, the temptation is to give up everything. Give up your marriage, your job, your dream, even your own life. But I call you to surrender. Surrender is the moment when you raise your hands, not in defeat, but in adoration, and say, Father, I can't, but you can. I don't know the way, but you are the way. The white flag of surrender is the signal for the army of heaven to invade your land and begin to act. Jesus, in the Garden of Gethsemane, experienced the supreme moment of mental pressure. His soul was anguished to the point of death. He felt the weight of the world. And what did he do? He didn't give up on the cross. He surrendered to the Father's will. Not as I will, but as you will. It was in this surrender that victory was guaranteed. Your victory also lies in your surrender. Stopping trying to control how and when things will happen is the key that frees you from the prison of anxiety. Understand that surrender brings rest. Giving up brings bitterness. Surrender opens doors. Giving up closes paths. When you surrender, you admit that your resources are limited. and this gives me permission to pour out my unlimited resources upon you. It is in surrender that supernatural prosperity happens, because you stop depending on your own strength and begin to depend on my powerful hand. You may have arrived here feeling like giving up, but I exchange that desire for the power of surrender. Give me the pieces of your broken heart. Give me the confusion of your mind. I am an expert at making new things from rubble. Don't throw in the towel. Throw yourself at my feet. There is the safest place in the universe. There the mind calms, the heart slows down, and hope is reborn, not based on circumstances, but based on my unchanging nature. True strength is not holding on to the world. It is having the courage to release it into God's hands. Today, perform this act of courage. Say no to giving up and yes to total surrender. See the relief flood your being. The burden that was too heavy disappears when I take it upon myself. If you feel this call to surrender and find rest, like this video, subscribe to walk with us on this journey of faith. Share this message with those who need strength today, and write your prayer of surrender in the comments. I surrender to your love, retaking back the territory. Now that you understand that the battle is spiritual, that control is an illusion, that you were never alone, and that surrender is the way, it's time to begin the counter-offensive. The time has come to reclaim the territory of your mind that the enemy has tried to illegally occupy. You have the authority, given by the name that is above all names, to expel the invaders. Thoughts of death, poverty, disease, and fear have no legal right to dwell within you, for you were bought at a high price. Recovery begins with vigilance. You need to become the guardian of the gates of your mind. Don't accept just any thought that knocks at the door. Question it. Does this thought come from God? Does it bring peace? Does it build up? If the answer is no, you have the authority to reject it, taking every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. This is active action. You are not passive before your mind. You are the queen who commands what stays and what goes. Use gratitude and praise as weapons of war. The enemy cannot bear the sound of a child of God praising in the midst of trial. Praise confuses the adversary's camp. When you praise, you build walls of fire around your mind. Begin to declare victory before you see it. Begin to give thanks for healing before you feel it. Begin to praise for financial provision before the money arrives in your account. This anticipatory faith is what moves the hand of God and drives out the shadows of doubt. Fill your mind with what is pure, noble, and of good repute. Mental diet is crucial. If you feed on the toxic garbage of the world, your mind will become sick. If you feed on the living word, your mind will be strong and healthy. Immerse yourself in the scriptures. Listen to praise music. Seek messages that edify. You are replanting the garden of your mind. Where there were thorns, flowers will bloom. Where there was desert, springs will gush forth. Recovery is a process, day by day. There will be difficult days, but you will not retreat. You know who you are. You know whose you are. With each rejected negative thought, you gain ground. With each declared biblical promise, you plant a flag of the kingdom. Your mind is being renewed, transformed, and through this renewal you will experience the good, perfect, and pleasing will of God. Are you ready to govern your thoughts with my help? Are you ready to see your outer life change as your inner life is healed? Victory is already yours. Take possession of it. If you're ready for this comeback, confirm with your like. Subscribe to receive daily kingdom strategies. Share with those who need to fight this good fight. And comment with authority. My mind belongs to Christ. The power of silence and listening. In a world that values speed and noise, silence has become a forgotten luxury. But I tell you, silence is a spiritual weapon. When you lose control of your mind, it's usually because the volume of the external and internal world is too loud. You are listening to many voices, the voice of the economy, the voice of medicine, the voice of family, the voice of social media. They all compete for your attention, creating a cacophony that leaves you stunned and unable to discern the next step. But it is in silence that my voice becomes clear. It is in stillness that the healing of the mind begins to weave its golden threads. Learning to be silent is not just stopping talking, it's stopping engaging with mental noise. It's about creating a secret chamber within yourself where the world cannot enter. Jesus often withdrew to deserted places to pray. He knew that to keep his mind aligned with the Father amidst the demands of the crowds, he needed silence. If the Son of God himself needed this pause, how much more do you? Silence is not emptiness, it is full of presence. It is in silence that you discover you don't need to perform, you don't need to explain, you don't need to justify, you just need to be. Often you fear silence because you fear what you will find there. You fear facing your own pain. Your deepest fears that noise helps to muffle. But I am in the silence waiting for you, not to accuse you, but to heal you. When you stop and breathe, when you turn off the screens and allow yourself to simply be in my presence, the turbulent waters of your soul begin to calm. The dust settles, and suddenly, the solution that seemed impossible emerges with crystal clarity. In silence, I can give you precise instructions. Many times you cry out desperately for a financial miracle, but the key to that miracle, an idea, a contact, a direction, I am trying to whisper, and you don't hear it because of the noise of your own desperation. Be still. Be still and know that I am God. Knowing that I am God requires stillness. It requires trusting that I am working, even when you are not running around. Silence is an act of faith that says, I trust God so much that I can afford to stop and wait on Him. Practice actively listening to the Spirit. Instead of just dumping your lists of requests, sit down and ask, Lord, what do you want to tell me today? What do you think about this situation? And wait. The answer may come as a sudden peace, a verse that comes to mind, a gentle image, or an inexplicable certainty. This is the language of the Spirit. The more you practice silence, the more familiar you become with my voice, and the harder it will be for the enemy to deceive you with the noise of fear. Silence also heals the body. Your agitated mind sends constant stress signals to your cells, creating illness and fatigue. Silence reverses this process. It bathes your body in calm, allowing physical restoration to occur. Remember, I desire that you have health as your soul prospers. A noisy soul sickens the body. A silent and confident soul brings life. Make silence a sacred ritual. It could be 5 minutes in the morning before everyone wakes up, or in the car before going to work. Protect these moments like treasures. They are your fuel. They are your shield. When you emerge from the silence to face the day, you will not emerge alone. You will emerge clothed in a serene authority that the world cannot shake. If you wish to cultivate this sacred silence in your life, leave a like as a commitment. Subscribe to learn more about life in the Spirit. Share this video with those who live stressed and need peace, and comment below your decision. In silence, I find God. The restoration of identity. When the mind gets out of control, the first victim is almost always your identity. The storm of negative thoughts attacks not only what you do, but who you are. The voices say, you are a failure, you are weak, nobody loves you, you will never change. And in the midst of the confusion, you begin to believe these lies. You forget that you are a daughter of the King. You forget that you carry the mark of the promise. The loss of mental control is often a disguised identity crisis. If you knew with every fiber of your being who you are in me, fear would have nowhere to land. I want to restore your identity today. I want to cleanse the mirror of your soul so that you see yourself as I see you. You are not defined by your past mistakes, nor by your current struggles. Your anxiety is not your identity. It is merely a battle you are going through. Don't say, I am anxious. Say, I am fighting anxiety, but I am peace in Christ. Words have creative power. What you put after I am defines your reality. Remember David. Before becoming king, he was anointed, but he spent years fleeing, hiding in caves, persecuted like a criminal. His mind could have collapsed. He could have believed he was a forgotten fugitive. But in his Psalms, he constantly reaffirmed his identity. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? He spoke the truth about who God was, and, consequently, about who he was under God's protection. You need to do the same. Your identity is that of a winner, not a victim. Even when you feel defeated, the seed of victory is within you, because the Holy Spirit lives in you. You were designed to reign in life. This means having dominion over circumstances, not being dominated by them. Restoring your identity means taking back the crown you dropped when the storm began. Put it back on your head. Lift your face. You have royal blood running in your spiritual veins. This restoration of identity also unlocks prosperity. A slave or orphan mentality waits for crumbs and lives in scarcity, always afraid that there won't be enough. An heiress-daughter mentality knows that the father owns everything and has access to the resources of the kingdom. When you know who you are, you boldly ask, you dream big, you don't accept misery as your destiny. Prosperity is a natural consequence of knowing that you are a daughter of the owner of gold and silver. Don't let the world or the people who hurt you or your own failures define who you are. The only definition that matters is the one written on the cross of Calvary. There I said that you are worth my own blood. That's how precious you are. That's how much you are loved. No one pays a high price for something worthless. If I paid everything for you, it's because you are worth everything to me. Return to basics. Return to the Father's love. Let that love heal the fractures in your self-image. When you are secure in your identity, the mind calms down because there is nothing left to prove, nothing to fear. You are mine, and that is enough. If you receive this restoration of identity today, like this video strongly. Subscribe to be reminded every day of who you are. Share with those who need to remember their worth. And declare boldly in the comments, I am a beloved daughter of the King, the mind of Christ in you. The ultimate goal of this journey is not merely to control the human mind, but to replace it, or rather, to submit it to a superior mind, the mind of Christ. The scriptures say we have the mind of Christ. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is a spiritual reality available to you. To have the mind of Christ means to see the world as Jesus sees it. It means processing emotions, crises, and joys through the filter of the Holy Spirit, and not through the filter of trauma or fear. The mind of Christ is a mind of absolute peace. Imagine Jesus in the boat during the storm. His mind was so aligned with the Father that the reality of the external storm did not disturb the reality of inner peace. He slept. To have the mind of Christ is to be able to rest in the midst of chaos, knowing that the Father is in control. It is a mind that is not easily offended, that forgives quickly, that does not hold grudges, that seeks to serve and love. It is a mind free from selfishness and full of compassion. How do you access this mind? Through daily surrender and renewal by the Word. It's like installing a new operating system on your computer. The old system, the carnal mind, is full of viruses, fear, envy, anxiety. The new system, the mind of Christ, is clean, fast, and efficient. But you need to download this system every day. You do this when you choose to react with love instead of anger, when you choose to trust instead of worry, when you choose to bless instead of curse. The mind of Christ is also a mind of strategic wisdom. Jesus always knew what to do. He was never confused. When wine ran out, he knew. When bread ran out, he knew. When sickness came, he knew. This same wisdom is available to you. You don't need to live groping in the dark, making wrong financial decisions, or entering into destructive relationships. Ask for wisdom from above. Ask to see the situation with the eyes of Christ, and he will show you the hidden path that the carnal mind cannot see. Having the mind of Christ means having a mind focused on the eternal. Anxiety usually comes from an excessive focus on the here and now and temporary problems. The mind of Christ looks to eternity. It knows that this light and momentary affliction is producing for us an eternal weight of glory. When you broaden your perspective, today's giant problems become small in the face of the grandeur of God's plan. This brings immediate relief. You are not condemned to live trapped in the labyrinths of your own limited mind. There is an open door to a higher intelligence, to a peace that surpasses understanding. Accept the invitation to think God's thoughts. Let my thoughts become your thoughts, and you will see your life transformed from the inside out in a way you never imagined possible. If you want to operate with the mind of Christ in all areas of your life, leave a like. Subscribe to continue growing in this wisdom. Share this video to spread the mind of the kingdom, and comment with your aspiration. I activate the mind of Christ within me. The miracle of gratitude as an antidote. It may seem too simple, even counterintuitive, but gratitude is the most potent antidote. to the poison of loss of mental control. When your mind is spinning in obsession with what's missing, what went wrong, what could go wrong, gratitude forces a sudden stop and redirects the focus to what already exists, to what went right, to what is good. Gratitude doesn't deny the reality of pain, but it amplifies the reality of grace. It's impossible for the human mind to focus with total intensity on fear and gratitude simultaneously. By choosing to give thanks, you are neurologically and spiritually expelling anxiety. Gratitude is the language of faith. When you give thanks before seeing the miracle, you are telling me in the spiritual universe that you trust in my goodness. Remember the multiplication of the loaves. Jesus gave thanks before the miracle happened. He held on to the little he had, looked to heaven and gave thanks, and the little multiplied. If you feel you have little peace, little money, little strength, begin to give thanks for that little. Thank you, Father, for this small strength that got me out of bed today. Thank you for this food, even if simple. Gratitude prepares the environment for multiplication. Where there is complaint, there is drought. Where there is gratitude, there is a rain of blessings. Often the mind loses control because it feels wronged, victimized by life. Gratitude breaks the victim mentality. It puts you in the position of receiving gifts. It reminds you of how many times I have delivered you, how many prayers have been answered. It builds a memorial of faithfulness. When the fear of the future comes, look back with gratitude and see the trail of my goodness. If I was faithful yesterday, I will be faithful tomorrow. Gratitude is the bridge that connects the faithfulness of the past with the hope of the future. Start a gratitude journal. Every day, force your mind to find 3 things to be grateful for. At first, it may be difficult. Your mind will want to return to the problems, but persevere. It's a spiritual muscle exercise. Over time, you will train your brain to scan life for blessings, not threats. And you will discover that even on the darkest days, my light shines in small details. Gratitude also opens doors to prosperity. He who is faithful in little will be placed over much. A grateful heart is a magnet for opportunities. People like to be around those who emanate gratitude. The aura changes, the countenance changes. You become more attractive, lighter. Bitterness repels, gratitude attracts. Use gratitude as your anchor when the mental storm begins. When you feel panic rising, start listing aloud all the good things you have. Shout your gratitude against the wind of fear. You will see the storm dissipate before the power of a grateful heart. If you choose gratitude as your weapon today, leave a like. Subscribe to cultivate a grateful heart. Share with someone who needs to change their perspective. And comment below 3 things you are grateful for today, or simply declare, gratitude is my key. The call to move forward. We've reached a crucial point. Understanding all this intellectually isn't enough. Action is necessary. Healing the mind isn't a spectator sport. It's a journey of active participation. You can't stand still on the sidelines analyzing your pain forever. There's a call to move forward, even if with trembling steps. Action heals fear. Paralysis fuels anxiety. When you take a step towards your purpose, towards your dreams, or simply towards doing good for someone, you break the paralysis of analysis. I didn't call you to live defensively, just trying to survive the attacks of your mind. I called you to the offensive, to conquer, to build, to love. What project did you shelve out of fear? What call did you not make? What forgiveness did you not release? The time is now. Movement generates life. Just as stagnant water rots, a mind stuck in cyclical thoughts becomes ill. Flow. Get moving. Do something, however small, that affirms life and hope today. Moving forward means trusting that the ground will appear when you put your foot down. That's the dynamic of faith. You want to see the whole path before you begin, but I only show you the next step. This is so that you depend on me every meter of the journey. If I showed you everything, you would rely on the map and not the guide. Trust the guide. I am holding your right hand and saying, fear not, I help you. Don't wait to feel ready or healed or perfect to move forward. Move forward even with fear. Move forward even with doubt. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that something is more important than fear. Your destiny is more important than your fear. Your family is more important. Your calling is more important. Don't let fear steal another day from your life. As you move forward, you will discover that the loss of control you so feared actually led you to places you would never have dared to go if you were in control. The best stories, the greatest miracles, happen outside the comfort zone. Embrace the adventure of faith. Embrace the unknown with me. What lies ahead is infinitely better than what lies behind. Rise up, daughter. Shake off the dust. Wipe away the tears. There is a road of glory waiting for you. Your best days are not in the past. They are being created now with every step of faith you take. I am blowing a new wind in your sails. Hoist the sails and let my spirit carry you. If you are determined to move forward no matter what, leave your like as a battle cry. Subscribe to Walk with Purpose. Share this video to encourage others to break free from paralysis. And comment with determination, I move forward in faith. My beloved, I know the journey within your own mind has been exhausting. I have seen the sleepless nights, felt the tightness in your chest and heard the silent cry for peace. But I want you to keep this truth deep in your heart. You are not your mind, and you are not your thoughts. You are an eternal spirit breathed by me, inhabiting a body and possessing a soul. Your essence is untouched by chaos. Deep down in your secret place with me, there is a peace that has never been disturbed, a light that has never been extinguished. The loss of control you felt was, in fact, an invitation to stop trusting in your own limited strength and begin to trust in my unlimited strength. It was the moment when the human crutches were kicked away so that you could learn to fly on the wings of faith. Do not look back with remorse or shame. Look at what I am building in you, a resilience of steel, a deep compassion, and a sweet dependence on my grace. You are being prepared for great things. Great purposes require great preparations. The fire of trial is burning away the impurities, leaving only the pure gold of your true identity. Do not fear the process. I am with you in the fire, and not a single hair of your head will be lost. Calm your heart. The universe is not out of control. It is under my command, and I am your Father. I care for the lilies of the field and the birds of the air. How much more will I care for you, who are the apple of my eye? Provision will come. Healing will come. The answer will come. Just trust. Just breathe. Just be mine. And now, as a seal of this promise in your heart, as the whispered word that will activate your supernatural strength, I want you to type in the comments, with all the faith that exists within you, the phrase that will break all the chains of impossibility. I can do all things through him who strengthens me.